Yes.
Did you know it's time to start thinking about cleaning our homes this spring? Why not do the same thing for our mind? Today, David will teach us prosperity mindset, 6 steps to get anything you want in life, and universal principles for parents, CEOs, teens, salespeople, and just anyone interested in growth and success. In his captivatingly conversational style, David has conducted over 9,000 trainings across the country and promises to make this the most valuable, fun, and life-changing meeting of the year. BHS guests and members, please give a warm welcome to David.
Does everyone know what the cow said to the farmer? Thanks for the warm hand. Just giving you a little sense of how it's going to go from here. It's all uphill from here, right? Good morning. How are we doing? Blessed. We got a thumbs up over there. We got a good over here. Anybody else? Awesome. Anyone not had a good day ever? Somebody asked you how you doing? What'd you say? If you don't want to create a lot of turbulence, probably the same thing, right? I'm fine, I'm good, I'm okay. My mother always taught me to be honest, and my father always taught me to be positive. So as you can see here, if I'm having a bad day, I have a dilemma, right? And so I learned many years ago, there's a word that you can respond with that'll cover you either way. So next time somebody asks you how you doing, just tell them you're unbelievable. Right? Unbelievably good, unbelievably bad. You're covered either way. Anybody go to the Nuggets game last night? I brought my son. We have season tickets, and they're all into basketball now, so I decided to pull the trigger, and it's been a lot of fun. Third quarter last night, I think the Timberwolves scored 40 points. Unbelievable, right? So this works in a lot of different ways, but I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I don't know exactly what the final score was. But they won, yeah, they won. Yep. So 2-0 back to Minnesota. So looking good. I again appreciate the opportunity to be here. If you guys don't enjoy the time that we spend together, it's Dee Dee's fault. She's the one that introduced me to Allison. So if you do enjoy today, whose fault is it?
Yours.
It's Dee Dee's fault. Okay. It all goes down from here. So I guess the topics are how to get anything you want. I guess anything you want. And we're going to focus on, I think, 5 or 6 steps to get, again, anything you want in life. And then a lot of that has to do with how you think. So we'll talk a little bit about mindset as well. So why don't we just jump in with the first question. And by the way, I don't have any PowerPoint. I'm not a PowerPoint kind of guy. I prefer to have a conversation than give a presentation. Is everyone cool with that? So yes. You can jump in at any time, raise your hand, say whatever you like. I don't have a specific agenda as far as, topics and, schedules and all that stuff. So jump in at any time. I'm happy to have, kind of let this go wherever it wants. So why do we think the way we think? Where does this come from? Okay, we're programmed. Where are we programmed from? Where does this come from?
Childhood.
Okay, your childhood, your parents.
Early childhood.
Okay, 6 to 8 to be exact. Early childhood. I guess if somebody knows a little more than I do about this stuff over here, right? So think about it. Why do we think the way we think? Where does this come from? And so you're right. There's a lot of different places it comes from. My father was an officer in the military. So every 2 years of my whole life, all the way up through high school, we moved to another city, to another state, to another country. And that was just the way it was. So if you dropped me off anywhere in the world, I won't survive, I'll thrive. Why?
You're used to dealing with uncertainty.
Okay? Programmed. I'm programmed to figure it out. I didn't realize what kind of gift I was being given when I was growing up. I just knew, oh, we have to move to another school. We have to figure it out. I have to make new friends. And I didn't realize that the gift that I was being given to be able to adjust, to be able to kind of go with it, right? So, yeah, we are who we are because of how we think. Why do we think this way, right? So if you haven't done an inventory on this, I would challenge you, I would urge you to sit down and ask yourself, why do I think the way I think? Where does this come from? And here's the beauty of this. If you change, everything will change for you. You heard that before? If I change, everything will change for me. So where's a good place to start? How we think. Right? So if you don't like where you are in life, what's the beauty of it? You don't have to keep repeating it. You don't have to keep on that same path. You can what? Change it. But it's hard to change unless we change how we think. How many of you agree there's a lot of people out there that would rather be right than happy? Right? I'd rather be right than happy. Well, so think about this from a standpoint of what do we write about? What do we write about? I prefer not to watch the news. I think that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because I do think it's important to stay apprised of what's going on in the world. But gosh, I just, you jump into the channels and maybe you jump on Fox or it's 31. Is that Fox?
Yeah.
The guy with the gray hair and the lady, right? Sometimes I'll go through and there they are. Crazy. Like all the bad things they're talking about and all the fires and the killings and it's like, yay, right? So careful what we put into our life. You gotta be careful what we put into our mind. So I'll give you 3 words to consider. Number 1, thoughts. Number 2, thoughts drive what? Actions. Actions create results. I think it's that simple. I don't like to get too in the weeds on this stuff. I think it's, if you say it's hard, it's going to be hard, right? And if you say it's easy, it can be easy. So I like to break it down to 3 things. Your thoughts drive actions, your actions create results. So what kind of results do you want? I think there's some realtors here. I'm in that space as well as a lender. If there's a realtor out there thinking, oh, it's terrible, nobody's buying, nobody's selling, what's happened? They went through the last 6 months, nobody bought from them and nobody sold from them, right? Why? Because they're self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So what if we thought differently, right? What if we thought a little bit different? So thoughts drive actions, actions create results. So we talked about thoughts. Where do they come from? So we can go back and ask ourselves, why do I think this way? And could I change how I think? The answer is, of course you could, right? So if you change how you think, you can change how you act. Anyone done any research on the snooze button for the alarm in the morning when they wake up? Think about this. If we hit the snooze button, and I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do, but if you hit the snooze button, what happens? Okay. Delaying the inevitable. You just broke the first agreement of the day. Right? You're supposed to get up, but you didn't. Now, if you have a system in place where it's snooze and then the next one goes off and that's the real one, right? Fine, I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do, but think about that. And I'm not saying it's a failure, but it's starting the day not committing or doing what you said you were going to do, which is get up at a certain time, right? So it kind of sets the tone, right? What else does it do? Does it put you ahead of schedule or behind schedule? Behind schedule, right? Now, how does that affect your day, right? Any really fast race driver kind of folks in this room today? Okay, we got one back there. I don't know if it was you driving the car in front of me today, but I'm just cruising along. Why? Because I leave time in case there's something that interrupts my ability to get somewhere, right? I mentioned my father's Colonel Behr, U.S. Army. It was a kind of a given that you're 15 minutes early or you're late. So I learned that as a kid as well. Another gift I got, right? Didn't like it as a kid, right? But he always taught me to build it in, right? And so when things go wrong, what am I still? Still just moving along, right? I have time, right? I see these people driving down these roads, like in and out and swerving. And it's like, how stressed must they be, right? Because they can't get in front of that car. It's like, why, right? Why? So anyway, my point is your thoughts determine how you act. So if you're late, what happens? Everybody else is a jerk. You hit all the red lights. Well, did you? Probably not, but that's what you're what? That's what you're focused on. Why? Because we hit the snooze button, right? So making a commitment to yourself, making a commitment to others, and going through with it, right? So just again, an example, how we think, oh, I can hit the snooze button, or no, I can't hit the snooze button. Get up, right? So thoughts drive actions. What do actions create? Results, right? So what kind of results do you want? Has a lot to do with the start, which is how you think, right? So all of this said, there are 5, 6 steps that I believe that you can get anything you want in life. So just for fun, why don't you take a second and write down something that you like, something that you would want. It could be for the next year, it could be a 5-year goal, it could be something you want to accomplish today. I don't know what it is for you. But take a second, and we'll kind of run you through these steps. Take a second and write down something that you've been wanting, something that you want, something you've been thinking about for a long time. Just take a second and jot that down, or put it in your phone or whatever you need to do. What is it, one thing that you've been wanting? And then if somebody wants to participate, you can help me walk through the process. You'll get more out of this than anyone else. You don't have to participate. I can just give a general example. But if everyone has one thing down that they want and it's in writing, would anyone like to share their one thing? And if not, again, I can just take a general example. Walk you through it. Yep, in the back.
I would love to move to Portugal.
Love to move to Portugal. Okay, perfect. How long, keep the mic. How long have you been wanting to move to Portugal?
Oh, probably for the last year.
For the last year or so, you thought about this. Okay, good. So number one, we have to know what we want, right? So she wants to move to Portugal. Great. So how does she get to Portugal? Which is, I think, the second step, right? When you write something down, this is what I want. What is almost impossible not to ask next? What? Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
How?
How do I get there, right? So how can she get to Portugal? Can she walk? No. Can she run? No. Oh. Okay. There's certain ways she's going to be able to get there. Now, within that reason, there's a lot of different ways she could get there, but there are also ways she can't get there, right? So first the question is, what do you want? Second question is, how am I going to get there, right? How do I do this, right? So once she knows what she wants, she knows how she's going to get there. What's a couple other things she should consider or think about?
Money.
Okay. How? It's going to cost money, right? How much money is it going to cost? Right? And then what about by when? This is what I want. This is how I'm going to get there. A great question we should all ask ourselves if we're not already is, by when? When am I going to have this? When am I going to go there? When am I going to acquire it? When am I going to, whatever your goal is, right? So I think it's really important to date the goal. Put a date next to it. If you don't have a date, you have a someday I'll. Someday I'll. Who is that? Island? Someday I'll, right? Someday never comes because it's not a day of the week. 7 days a week, right? Someday is not one of them. So a lot of people have these someday I'ls. Someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that, someday I'll get this. No, you won't. No, you won't. Until we what? We ask ourselves, what do we want? How are we going to get there? And by when? So when you say by when, what do you have to ask yourself next? How am I going to do this within this time frame? So should we put her on the spot? Portugal, by when?
By the November 24th election cycle.
November 24th election cycle. Perfect. Okay. All right. Now she's got a goal. She's got a date. Now she has to ask herself, how am I going to do this within this time frame, which money and all those other things that come with it. Yep.
I think you got to take a step back and ask yourself the question is, why do I want to go to Portugal? I'm not saying she doesn't have a valid reason. Okay. I'm sure she does.
Yep.
A lot of times we think the grass is always greener on the other side till we get there and we find that it's the same grass. So are we running away from something? What's causing us to go there to begin with?
Yep.
And I think that's a question you have to ask yourself first. And then when you answer that, all the other things that you're talking
Okay, perfect. So put it in any order that you want. I think any order will work. But the next thing is going to be what? Why do I want this? Because if we don't know the why, what will we never do? The how, which is the work. Right? What might the work be? Well, maybe it's making a little bit of extra money so we can afford the plane ticket. Maybe it's whatever it is, right? So what do I want? Why do I want it? When do I want to buy? How am I going to get this? So feel free to change the order if you like.
I would say I can start with that. Vision every 12 weeks. That helps me. What is my why? And then I can start doing
Yep. So why did I ask you to write it down?
make it happen. When you write it down.
If it's in writing, it's a what? It's a goal. If it's not in writing, what is it? It's a wish. It's an idea. Thanks for playing. Right? The second you write it down, it becomes real. It becomes a commitment. You wrote it down. How many of you agree success is your own damn fault? Right? Success is your fault. Not going to like my next statement. What is failure? A lot of things. It's a learning opportunity. It's all those positive things that we want to, but in reality, what is it? It's our fault, right? Whatever happens in life, it's our fault. What is that? It's a mindset. If everything's your fault, what will you do? Anything and everything you can to not have to admit it was your fault and that was a bad thing, right? Everything being your fault is what? It's control. It's control that you can have and do and become whatever you want, right? And when it's our fault, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that our fault is success, whatever that definition or whatever that means to you. Yeah. So what do we want? I'll change the order. Why do you want it? When are you going to have it by? How are you going to get there? Right? And by the way, when you write it down, what can you do? I think you used the word visual, right? How important is it to make it visual? Okay. Could you put up pictures of beautiful Portugal all over the place? Where should you put your goals? Where you can see them. Who should you tell your goals to? Well, she just told them to everybody here, right? But who should you tell them to? Think about this.
Sure yourself. Yeah. I mean, talk to everybody.
Okay, so there's one or two types of people in this room. Number one, somebody who needs motivation. Somebody wants some people who inspire them, right? Tell them they can do it. I'm guaranteeing there's at least one or two people in this room that you need people in your life telling you you can't do it. Because that'll drive you. My sister's a good example. I know how to push her buttons. I know her very well. When I want her to do something, I tell her she can't do it. Because I know that's what's going to drive her. Right? So I think you said it very nicely. Tell your goals to people who are going to help you achieve your goal. If that's people who are going to support you, great. That's what you want. That's what you need. That's who you need to find. If you're driven by somebody telling you you can't do something, find somebody at your office, find somebody at work, find somebody somewhere that's going to tell you that's not possible. You can't do that. Right? So think about that from a standpoint of who you should tell your goals to. Right? And we all have different motivations and we all have driven differently. So consider and think about that. I personally wouldn't tell everyone your goals because most people are going to squash their goals because they don't have goals themselves and they don't want you to achieve your goals and they're going to tell you you can't do it. Right? We're always right, even when we're wrong. We're always right, even when we're wrong. True? So be careful what you're right about. It's possible. It's not possible. Think about those two thoughts. If somebody says it's possible, I can do this, what's going to happen? They're going to take the appropriate action. And they're going to get the results. It's not possible. They're right. Because they won't take the right actions. And they won't get those results. Right? So, what do you want? Why do you want it? By when? How are you going to get there? This one, I think the last one is probably one of the biggest for me. And I hope if you haven't considered or thought about it or forgot about it, that it helps you leave here today thinking and doing things a little bit different. And so I have 4 kids. Yeah. Who do I take? I have 2 tickets to the Nuggets game, every game. Who do I take, right? That's a dilemma. Because they all love basketball, which is why I did it. But here's the thing for me. And this made the biggest difference. Who besides you will benefit if you achieve your goal? That to me was the game changer. Who besides me will benefit if I achieve my goal? I think it's a question a lot of people don't ask. And I hope if you're not asking it, when you walk out these doors, you'll start. And I hope you'll share this with somebody else. Who besides me will benefit if I achieve this goal? Why is that such a powerful question to ask with all of your goals? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Are you more willing to quit on yourself or someone else? Pretty powerful question, isn't it? Because why don't people achieve what they want to achieve? Because they quit too early. Because it got hard. What's going to drive you through the difficulty? What's going to drive you through the challenges and the obstacles in your way? If there's a wall in front of you, how do you get over it? You could climb it. You could go through it. You could go under it. But unfortunately, most people who don't walk through these steps, they get to the wall and they go, oh, I can't. There's a wall. Guess I better turn around. Versus what? No, I want this so bad that I'm going to ask myself, how am I going to get over this wall? How am I going to get to the other side? Why would I want to get to the other side? Who besides me would benefit if I got around this wall? Right? So, my kids are my driving force. who besides me will benefit if I achieve this goal? I don't know who and what that is for you, but I hope you'll tap into it. Anybody go to the gym? Anybody seen some of these people at the gym that don't need these trainers, that have these trainers? Like, why do they have these trainers? They look like they don't need these trainers. They look like they should be training somebody else. Okay. Somebody used the word accountability. So it's 5:30 a.m. The alarm goes off. We're supposed to be at the gym at 6 a.m. You don't have a trainer waiting for you at the gym at 6 a.m. What's easy to do at 5:30? Hit the snooze button. Why? Because you're only letting yourself down. And that's okay, you can do that. But if you have a partner that's at the gym waiting for you at 6 a.m., what are you more likely to do at 5:30? Get up. Put your feet on the floor. And go. So back to who you should tell your goals to and who besides yourself will benefit if you achieve those goals. I think those tie in nicely, right? So just some things hopefully to consider and or potentially add to what you're already doing when it comes to your goals and what you want in life, right? So anybody else want to add anything to that list? What do you want?
It's really about how you define yourself. I've done the crutch where I was working with a Tai Chi master, and one of the reasons I did it was I'm paying this guy. So I'm going to get there at that time and do it. But really, that was a crutch because I wasn't willing to take responsibility for myself to do it. So sooner or later, we have to get back to who's responsible. You are. It's not my wife. It's not my kid. It's not somebody else. I'm responsible. And do I trust myself? Because we have all these people like your sister saying, oh, you can't do this. I can relate because I grew up that way. And I said, I can do this. And nobody can tell me you can't. So how do you trust? What is your belief in yourself? And are you holding yourself accountable to what you want to do? Not what somebody else tells me. Not anybody else, friends, family. What do I think is best for me? And that's a decision that only you can make. And I can get input. I seek input from people because I get tunnel vision just like everybody else. What am I missing in this scenario?
Yeah. What's the old 1 + 1 = 3, right? So for me, I like to, should we pay somebody to hold us accountable? And the answer is yes and no. I don't know what the answer would be for you, but for me, I think, I don't want to tell you to go get a coach, but I enjoy having a coach for my life, for my business. It's something that's worth every penny, right? Because at the end of the day, success is my fault. But why not let other people play and help me get somewhere, right? They know things I don't know. And by the way, sometimes it's just them saying something I already know, but I'm not doing, right? And it takes somebody else to point it out, right? Because I don't want to admit I didn't see that, right? So, having I think the realtors, you guys do like a mindset, not mindset, but like a mastermind group, right? So finding people who are willing to play in that circle, right? Because some people think, oh, it's competition, right? Well, I think it's beautiful that you can get people together to say, hey, we're all in real estate. There's enough business out there for all of us. How can I support you? How can I help you? Right? As a lender, I do a lot of trainings for my clients' companies. So my gift to my client is, hey, it's tough out there right now. There's a lot of people going through a lot of things. Do you think your company would appreciate and enjoy maybe a little talk on mindset, how to get anything you want in life? Right? Well, yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome. So I'm going in and doing these trainings for my clients' companies just as a value add, just as something to do to give back. So I guess I share that maybe as a shameless plug. If anyone here knows or works for a company that you think the employees could benefit from hearing some of this stuff from somebody else, because here's the reality. Isn't it true sometimes we just need to hear from somebody else, right? So as a, I know as a leader, as a manager, you can say things to your people all the time, but then all of a sudden someone else comes in and says the same thing a little different way, and all of a sudden, it's gospel, right? So that's kind of something I like to do, is give back, especially during these last couple of years. It's been tough for a lot of people out there, so I'd like to kind of brush off and some of the skills and get out there and hopefully make a difference, share some ideas with people. So,
Otherwise,
yeah.
I'll come here because we get refueled every couple of weeks. We have speakers that tell us things that yes, we know we can just remind it.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe that's a good segue to this. Tell me one thing that you're leaving here with today, whether it's something that Dee Dee said in that beautiful prayer, or whether it's something that you had a conversation with somebody prior, or whether it's something that was shared here from the front. Because we all know what to do, right? But doing it, right? So sometimes just being reminded. So why don't we, maybe this is a good opportunity to have you, because this is useless unless we do something different when we leave, right? So what's the one takeaway, the one idea that you leave here today with, hopefully impacting and making a difference on where your life goes from here? So, yep.
I'm dealing with dozens of regulated people, and I'm just dealing with I'm dealing with a bunch of regulated people. I'm just dealing with them. What made me realize this morning is I need to understand that they know stuff, and that instead of just inundating me with information, I need to remind them politely, kindly, that they're my trainer and my leader, and that I need to work with them and count on them, as opposed to just interact with them. So people that I come into contact with on a daily basis that know something I don't know are my trainer or my leader, and vice versa. If I can help them to understand why I'm doing something that includes them in who I make the world better for, then I am their trainer. They're part of my team, so to speak. And I had not been thinking of it that way.
I've always had the mentality with my employees that I work for them. And I think they really appreciate that because it was empowering, right? And how many of you agree they were more likely to run through walls for me because I didn't treat them as employees. I treated them as almost not even equal. Like I put myself below them almost. I think that was seems to be a good thing. I think people appreciate that, not being told what to do, but we're all a team together, right? Cool. Thank you for sharing. Any other kind of epiphanies or ideas or takeaways as you leave for today? Yeah.
What I got out of that is thinking differently of like who it would benefit, because you're always just thinking like, tunnel vision, what I need to do better, stronger to get things accomplished, but it all has such a ripple effect, especially with your kids, but even with your business, if you have like a more positive outlook, and that just like brings to everyone kind of pages.
It's funny because my kids, we live in well, I won't go into it, but I'll just share with you where I'm going with this. My mission, my goal is for my kids, all four of them, to have $100,000 when they're 18 years old because of what I'm doing with my money for them in the future, right? So that to me, to think of my kid at 18, to be able to go out and buy a house, to be able to go out and start a business that they want to, college, whatever it may be, right? So my gift to them, they don't realize this yet because they tell me, oh, we don't have this and we don't have that, and we want to go on vacation and so forth. And so they don't realize what I'm doing is I'm taking a lot of this money that most people are spending, right? And they look rich, right? And the reality is when they're 18, they're going to get a present from me. It's going to be in a card. It's going to be just a card, and it's going to have a check in it for $100,000, and it's going to say void on it. Why is it going to say void? Because daddy's good with their money, and you're going to be too, right? And here's what I'm going to do. At 18, I'm going to say, this is your money when you're 25. And it'll actually be worth more money when you're 25 if you continue to pay the bill that I've been paying for 18 years. Invest first, spend later. That's my gift that I'm giving them. To invest first, spend later. Make it a bill. It's got to be a bill every month. So that's something that I'm doing for my kids. They're going to do that for 7 years. 25, we're going to have a big celebration, big party, right? If not, my wife's going to have a celebration because she's going to get the Porsche that she's always wanted. Right? So it's up to them what they decide to do. But no, I'm not just going to give it to them. No, that's a waste, right? That's a lesson that's not learned. And so if they don't keep that bill up, they're going to get the repercussion. I think they're probably going to keep the bill up. What do you think? Right? They'll go get a side job. They'll go do whatever they need to do, right, to figure it out. If you know the why, you'll do the how, right? Why? I want that check when I'm 25, right? They'll do the how. They'll figure it out, right? So yeah, that drives me, right? It's in my mind. I can see the picture. It's the 18th birthday. We're all around the table, and they're getting ready to open this card. I mean, I visualize it every day. I can see it. Just makes me so happy, right? All right, cool. Thank you for sharing. What else? Any other takeaways? Yep.
First of all, I'm available for adoption. So what came to mind is how we're training, sales training, to find our ideal client, our avatar, and all of that. And that's all about what we can get out of that person. If we understand them, what can we get out of them? But I really like the energy of what's the service. And it's not, and that actually is so expansive to me that isn't, it's not limited by what our definition of who we are going to help is. There's so much to that. I think that was a huge goal today. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. When you walk into a room, here's what my mother taught me. When you walk into a room, don't look around and say, what can I get? Look around and say, what can I give? You ever been to a networking meeting? Yeah. What can I get? What can I get? How about what can I give? My mother was a social worker. That's why I am the way I am. My dad was Colonel Behr, U.S. Army. That's also why I am who I am, right? Pretty drastic. You imagine my household when I was growing up around election time? Oh, wow. That was fun, right? So, yeah, the word deserve in Latin means from service. You get a nice big paycheck, you deserve it because you served. Right? In my business, and some realtors can attest, and you guys have your own Super Bowls. I have a closing in Arvada today at 9 o'clock. I'm heading to, and it's like Super Bowl for me. It's like I love going to those things. It's a celebration, right? Why? Because they deserve to own a home, right? Why? Because I was able to serve them. Right? So yeah, the word deserve is from service. Get what you deserve. Do you serve or don't you? Right? You ask, what can I give, not what can I get? Good. Any other takeaways? Yep.
I'm going on the benefit side as well, but it's also a shift from what everybody says, what is your why? And most people say it's your kids, you know, your family, or whatever. And it just gives me a different definition of what the why is. And it's something different than you, and it's going to be incorporated in
Good. And getting what you want in life has a lot to do with managing your time too, doesn't it? So let me give you a little takeaway before we walk out. Stop managing your time. It's a misnomer. It's not the hour, it's what you put into the hour that's most important. Why would you put that into the hour versus something else? Because you know what you want, you know why you want it, you know how you're going to get there, you know when you're going to get there, and you know who besides you is going to benefit, right? Huge, huge, right? And something I did recently is for 10 days, I logged every 15 minutes for 10 days. Wow. That was eye-opening. I didn't have enough time. I have 4 kids. I don't have enough time. I freed up a lot of time understanding and realizing what I was doing to waste time throughout the day. Right? So I think also included in what do you want and all that good stuff is what are you doing with your time? So event management, not time management. Manage your events, not your time. Why would we manage our events? Well, how would we manage our events, I guess I should say? Has a lot to do with what you want, right? So thank you for inviting me. I hope it's of value and makes a difference somehow, some way in your life. And I always say, if you picked up something today, why not reach out to somebody and call them and say, hey, I heard an idea today I wanted to share with you. Because I think if you teach, it helps yourself as well. So anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I guess, am I supposed to go over there and now like plug something? That's who I am. I didn't come with any agenda except for to share. She's like, you didn't bring any brochures? Nope. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Thank you for your time. Another big hand for David Behr. Fantastic presentation. And again, thank you all for being here, for being generous, supporting one another and each other's businesses. I just want to give a big shout out. I got a chance to meet with Diana why, and she asked me why and why not. So I don't know. Makes sense. Like was mentioned, all the questions she asked, I already had decided that here to kind of gently nudge us in the right direction. Diana, thank you.
No, I got that. That are usually right here at 6:30. So get your calendars ready. So our next event, this is a makeup event because remember we had a snowstorm last time. We were heading back to Green Mountain Brewing. It's at the corner of Morrison and Kipling. We're going Wednesday from 4:30 to 6:30. This is the 26th of April. It's a real casual event. It's a great way for us all to connect outside of this room. Please bring friends. They can learn a little bit more about us, DHS, but our happy hours are usually kind of a fun event, just very casual. And I hope you guys come back May 4th. Our very own Leslie from Kaizen Wellness will be our next speaker. She's going to be speaking on integrity is crime. And a couple of dates that are a little further out, and we're kind of working on all the details. We are working on a summer picnic. July 20th is our 10th date. We would do that instead of a meeting that Thursday. So you guys all been out there before out in Lakewood at Morris Park. And then our car show event, we are still working on all the details. We will need volunteers for that on the 26th of August, right here at Maya High Church. It will coincide with the farmers market, and there will be opportunities. I know I'm going to pay to have my tent, have some my stuff out, giveaways, raffles and stuff. So there'll be an opportunity for any business owners that want to showcase your business at that event too. And just want to say thank you for everybody that's been purchasing an annual membership. You guys don't know, but this really does help, with our breakfast, with AV equipment that we need to purchase. We're working with Jan to develop a really great new website that we'll be proud to show off. We'll be able to showcase our businesses better and be a little more user-friendly and grow this group. And as part of your membership, we do, you've probably been seeing on our Facebook, we do Spotlight members, and Melissa Chapman isn't here today, but she is our Spotlight member this week. You can read about her and her business on our Facebook page, our Facebook group, Instagram, and our email newsletter that goes out to thousands of people. So this is a great way to showcase you as a business owner. Some other benefits too, we have our Facebook group. We are limiting Facebook group posts to people that are paid members as an added benefit. You can post about your business, your events, you're a paid member on our Facebook group, which has 500 followers. And another perk of being a member is you do get a marketing table over here. David, do you want to speak or anything? You can have that lovely table over there. Okay. Well, so like I mentioned earlier.
Hey, I got a question. Did you say May the 4th is our next?
May 4th.
We want to do a Star Wars thing. Star Wars. Honestly, all that stuff, like characters. Like
I think you should be a Wookiee.
I will definitely be a Wookiee. I'll grow my hair.
All right, I'm taking off marketing
Need a little more
director
hair.
hat, and this is real estate Allison. Why not? Why not have a table for a realtor? You guys all know I'm with Behr. Does anybody know how long Behr has been? 117 years. That's crazy. Yeah. We are a global company. We have 14 offices along the Front Range, which is pretty awesome because I can work out of all of them. I have clients pretty much Fort Collins all the way down to Larkspur now, out to Aurora and Foothills and everywhere in between. Another really cool thing is that I've done this with so many family and friends. I can help connect somebody out of state or out of country that needs a great agent to represent them. I can help connect you. I've done this in Missouri, now Georgia, I've got several clients from Florida, and pairing them up with somebody that can really help them, guide them in the environment. I have some goodies. So obviously I help people buy and sell. So if you know anybody that is looking to buy, I have some home buying books that will kind of give them an idea of what the process looks like. I have some samples of the wonderful marketing that we do with Coldwell Banker to really showcase your home and get it ready for sale and get as many eyes on your property. We're really successful getting tons of people into my listings, getting lots of fabulous offers, because that's what it's all about. Great offer with terms that are great for the seller. So I have some samples of that. I also have, let's see, it is Earth Day, like Pete mentioned, so if anybody wants a reusable shopping bag, please help yourself. I have so many of these at my house. Baseball schedules. If you're curious what's going on in Lakewood, I pulled a market report. You can grab one of these. And my biggest gift to you is something I've just started within the last year. My clients and friends and family are loving this. It's basically a monthly engaging email that comes out, market report for your specific home. It'll give you all sorts of information about the current value of your home and a lot of financial information that you can use to make good decisions. Maybe it's a good time to refinance, or maybe you've built up enough equity in your home and you can get your mortgage insurance. Just had a client do it. Or if you're looking to make an addition on your home, I just had another client add a bedroom and how much value that'll add to your home. Lots of really great stuff. The average American, when they retire, 83% of their wealth is coming from equity in their home. So this is a really great tool. You don't have to buy anything for me or sell your home with me or anything, but you just get this monthly, just make great financial decisions. So that's my gift. That's up here too. And that's all I have. That's 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Were there any new members today? Can I do? Absolutely. Put my mortgage hat on. Anybody want to know what my murky crystal ball looks like? Look, I think if someone's going to purchase a home or going to live in Colorado for the next 3 to 5+ years, owning a home is much better than renting, right? As she said, I think you're 41
Your net worth is 41 times more owning a home than if you rent. Why? What did you know? 83%? Did you?
83% of your wealth is coming from.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you think I have some clients that we're going to buy in 2017, 18, 19, because they're waiting? What do you think that cost? Hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I think it's pretty cool that you can make money when you sleep, right? So I truly am the kind of guy who will not tell somebody no, I'll tell them how. So if you know anyone that's out there that's renting, it's free to have a conversation, to chat with them and show them, hey, you plan to, I'm not the kind of guy who says you should buy a house. You plan on being here for the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. No, I don't plan on being here for the next 2 years. Okay, keep renting. Right? Unless you want to, what? Rent out your place when you leave, right? Are there a lot of accidental landlords right now? Why? Because they have a 2.5% rate. Have I told them, realtors aren't gonna like this, hopefully you appreciate it though. Don't sell your house. You have a 2.5% rate. You okay renting it? Well, yeah, I could do that. Cool. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. And the cool thing about working with a lender is it costs $0 for us to give you advice and information. And unfortunately, what are a lot of people thinking? I can't buy a house. I don't have enough money. I can't buy a house. The rates are too high. Well, here's what I tell people. The rates are your friend right now. What do you think happens to a client when they go, what do you mean the rates are my friend? What am I getting them to do? Think differently. Could you buy a house at a little bit of a 2-3% discount right now? Is your payment going to be a little bit higher now? Yes, but there are other opportunities in which you can get your payment down. 2-1 buy downs. And there's always a great opportunity to refinance later, right? Because the media will tell you a lot of bad things, right? I look at numbers, I look at graphs, I look at history, and history is repeating itself, and it will. What happens when we're in a recession with rates? They always go down, right? There's a lot of other reasons for that. But anyway, if you know anyone who's looking potentially to get rid of some debt, could you get rid of a 3% rate for maybe a 6% rate and be better off? Most people would say no. Well, I have an algorithm and a computer system that shows otherwise. What are people paying on their credit cards? A lot more than 6%, right? So yes, there's ways to help people, get rid of debt as well. So I'd love to be a resource. If you know anyone who's looking or considering buying, I'm happy to help them. So mortgage shout out. Thank you for letting me be here. Thanks, David.
Okay, any shout outs? Anybody do any business?
I heard a shout out for Renee about carpet at the meeting. So I want to say that I understood you were excellent to work with, and carpet looked great afterward. Maybe it was a stretching from one of the other features. Good to see you.
Shout out to Jeremy. I went with the sound wave thing. I had no clue what to say. It was awesome. You just feel your energy. And that was thank you, Jeremy.
After you get your batteries recycled, put it over to P, come see me. We have an event over at Shakedown Street. We do a free reading. Should be a beautiful day on Saturday. I think we're there from 5 over Yonder Brewing Company.
All right. We're going to just jump back into that field of energy that is beyond this room, beyond my constriction, releasing and connecting to the greater. And I'm just so grateful for this time as we come together and think of new possibilities and deepen, for we know that there is an energy bigger than us, that this power, that we can use it, that that we can support each other and really expand. I'm so grateful for this group, for this opportunity, for this time together, and I hope that we all travel safely into the adventures. We get together and share. And I release these words into that law of action, and that law that is always in effect, helping the flowers grow, raising the sun, and making
Half hour.